right. Good morning, beloveds. Foster is quacking away this morning. And I mean that. Yes, he's a cat. And yes, he quacks. It's the only way I can describe the sound he makes. So, all right. Our title, it is May 2nd. Our title is The Heavens Are Impartial. We have 3 quotes today. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and they shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. That is Psalm 27:14. We should expect the best and so live that the best may become part of our experience. Science of Mind, page 300. The law of mind may be referred to as the law of cause and effect or the law of action and reaction. And that is the book Good for You, page 49. When something unpleasant happens to us, we may wonder, why me? What did I ever do to deserve that? At such times, we need to remember that nobody is out to get us, certainly not God. And we need to avoid the tendency to believe that divine retribution is inflicting punishment upon us. A belief in retribution suggests a belief in a vengeful deity. And this is not the concept of God that Science of Mind teaches. It does teach, however, that there is a universal law of cause and effect, which responds impartially to everyone and is active in all situations. When a why me incident occurs, we may be sure that we are not being punished by a force or power outside of us, but rather that we are experiencing the consequences of a cause which we ourselves, at some level of unconsciousness, have set into motion. Let's not blame blind fate, but instead look at our own thoughts, beliefs, and actions for an understanding of how we may need to change. This is a good world, and I am happy to be a part of it. I believe in a loving God, and I believe in myself. I accept myself. I accept my place in the world. I accept the people in my world, and I know each has a rightful place. I accept the day that lies before me now. I accept only good for myself, for my loved ones, and for others I may encounter. This is God's beautiful world, and I am happy to be in it. All right. So I'm going to start off by reminding us not to spiritually bypass. One of the things that Science of Mind has been accused of and has been guilty of is, and not Science of Mind Science of Mind, also just New Thought in general, is when something bad happens to somebody and we look at each other and go, well, what did you do to cause that? Okay, no. Let's not go there. Okay. His advice is when things happen, it's a good idea to look at what, the choices that we made, the things going on around us. Are there different choices that we can make? Sometimes, because we are in relationship with other people invite things into our lives that we would rather not have. And so it's helpful to go back and look at our thoughts, look at our feelings, look at our unconscious beliefs, look at the people around us, and think, okay, these are the things that are happening in my world. Is there anything that I need to change? Okay? Because we don't believe in a vengeful deity. We don't believe in what do they call, my friend Reverend Cherry calls it self-inflicted nonsense. That's what she says sin is. Self-inflicted nonsense. So the heavens are impartial. When we put something in motion, then it's going to come back to us. In the pagan traditions, it's called the threefold rule. The threefold rule. What you put out, you get back 3 times. So it makes you think about the energy and the thoughts and the feelings and the things that you're putting out. Now, that being said, I do want to caution you, while the heavens are impartial, Not every bad thing that happens is your fault. Okay? We are in relationship with other people. Sometimes that invites things in. And sometimes the world just goes crazy. Sometimes, so if you can't figure out what you need to change, don't blame yourself, okay? That's why I said, let's not fall into the spiritual bypass. Yes, we want to take responsibility for our life. We want to investigate our thoughts. We want to investigate our feelings. We want to investigate our beliefs, because many of us have unconscious beliefs that it takes something, and I'm going to use air quotes here, bad happening for us to go, oh, wait a minute. Where did that come from? So then we go back and we do an inventory and we go, oh, I was unaware of that. Let me work on that. Okay? But not all the time. Not all the time. The last thing we ever want to do is go up to somebody who is going through a situation and go, well, what are you doing to cause this situation? It's not helpful. It's not kind. It's not compassionate. It's not. So, what we want to do is be there and be supportive and say, how can I help you? What can I hold for you? What can I know for you? We don't ever want to ask anybody that question. And we want to be cautious on asking ourselves that question, because when we do it, we want to ask ourselves that question. But when we do it, we want to do it in a not blaming way. We want to do it in a kind way, in a compassionate way, in a I am growing way. All right. So that's my caution on the heavens are impartial. The rain falls upon the just and the unjust equally. Because we do believe in the law of cause and effect and the law of action and reaction. The goal is to know ourselves well enough that we are not reacting. Because a lot of the times that's how we trigger those non-preferred events, as I like to call them. I learned that from a therapist. That's a non-preferred emotion, a non-preferred event. When things like that happen, we do remember, yes, heaven is impartial. The law is impartial. What we want to do is know ourselves well enough that we are not reacting, because reacting is often unconscious. What we want to do is respond. And when we respond, it means we've taken a moment to think through our response, to think through our reaction, to think through what we are going to do, and if there are any changes that we need to make. Okay? And Rita, I don't know what you're about to do, but let's not do that, because we're about to have a reaction we don't like. Life with cats. Okay, so the heavens are impartial. That first quote from the Psalms, wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and the Lord shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. Psalm 27:14. Go read it in context. And Ernest says we should expect the best and so live that the best may become part of our experience. And so live that the best may become part of our experience. And that's probably the most important thing right there. The heavens are impartial. You want good, do good. That's it. That's it. The law of mind may be referred to as the law of cause and effect or the law of action and reaction. And that's the book, Good for You, page 49. If you haven't figured it out by now, this is Craig Carter. He's the one that likes to use that book, Good for You. Okay, so when something unpleasant happens to us, we may wonder, why me? And that is a normal, natural human reaction. Absolutely. Absolutely. Every one of us have it. Why me? What will tell us more about ourselves is what our response to that question is. Why me? What do we do next? What do we do next? Do we go and do we take our own inventory and go, all right, here's what I can change so that won't happen again? Or do we take our inventory and go, you know what? Sometimes shit happens. Sorry. Sometimes stuff happens. And we just move on with our lives. And then Sometimes we look at the people in our lives and go, yeah, no, let's not do this again. What did I ever do to deserve that? Well, most likely we didn't deserve it, but we may have put a few pieces in motion. At such times, we need to remember that nobody is out to get us. Certainly not God. And I love this. We need to avoid the tendency to believe that divine retribution is operating, inflicting punishment upon us. No. Because that's not the God that we believe in, which is what he is about to say. A belief in retribution suggests a belief in a vengeful deity. And this is not a concept of God that science of mind teaches. Now, interestingly enough, when Jesse was talking yesterday, when Reverend in the Sunday service, that's exactly what he said. He said, we believe in a principle, not a personality. Because if we believe in a personality, then that opens us up to whims. And God doesn't have whims. We don't have to placate God. What we have to do is understand how the principle works and stay in alignment with that. All right. It does teach, however, that there's a universal law of cause and effect, which responds impartially to everyone and is active in all situations. Like I said, it rains on the unjust and the just equally. When a why me incident occurs, we may be sure we are not being punished by a force or power outside of us, but rather that we are experiencing the consequences of a cause which we ourselves, at some level of unconsciousness, set into motion. And that's where I was like, hang on. Let's not do the spiritual bypass. Let's not blame ourselves. Okay? Yes, it is a good idea to take our inventory, but let's not blame ourselves. Sometimes we simply walk into things because we just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. All right? Let's not blame blind fate, but instead look at our own thoughts, beliefs, and actions for understanding how we may need to change. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. Take our inventory. Because if we take our inventory, we are less likely to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. But don't blame yourself either, okay? Sometimes things happen. If a butterfly can flap their wings in South America and cause a hurricane in North America, occasionally, yeah. So, I do, however, love his treatment. So, let's go there. This is a good world, and I am happy to be a part of it. I believe in a loving God, and I believe in myself. And that was what that Jesse said yesterday. God doesn't love you. God is love. And it kind of rocked me back on my heels because I hadn't thought about it that way. You know, we all love the warm, fuzzy God that wraps its arms around us. Well, yeah. You know who does that? People. That's why I like to refer to each one of us as the hands and feet. We are the loving arms of God. God can't wrap God's arms around us because God is a principle. But God created the people that can wrap their arms around us. And that is how we are held by a loving God. I accept myself. I accept my place in the world. I accept the people in my world. And I know that each has a rightful place. Okay, I accept the people in my world. But if the people in my world are not contributing to a beautiful, wonderful world, and the people in my world continue to create why me moments, then maybe I want to look at the people in my world and go, do you really belong in my world? And if so, then I'm just going to have to accept that why me moments are going to happen. I accept the day that lies before me now, and I expect only good for myself, for my loved ones, and for the others I may encounter. This is God's beautiful world, and I am happy to be in it. And that is Craig Carter. Okay. And I had a thought, and then Foster distracted me, so apparently it was not important. So what is the mission today? I think that the mission today is to take our inventory. The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to take our inventory, especially when a why me moment happens. Give yourself a moment of grace, take your inventory, and accept the information. And sometimes that information is going to be, well, okay, these are the pieces that you set in motion. This is why this happened. And sometimes the information is going to be, you know what? Material reality can be messy, and you just happen to walk into the mess. But don't blame yourself. That is not the mission. That is never the mission. Don't blame yourself. Okay? Accept the information, make the changes you need, and move on. Because in the long run, the world is a good place. And it is filled with good people. All right? And you are one of them. You are a beloved child of God, in whom God is well pleased, just like everybody else in the world. All right. I don't know what's with Foster this morning. So that's the mission. Oh, you kind of heard the duck noise there. And the other thing, as always, I do encourage you to practice the spiritual practice of doing something loving for yourself, doing something kind for yourself, doing something compassionate for yourself. Which is why when I was talking about the why me question, please, it is necessary to take our inventory, but do it lovingly, do it kindly, do it compassionately, do it without blaming yourself. And for love, kindness, and compassion, don't ever ask somebody that question. Well, what did you do to create this situation? It's not a fair question. It's not. That's a question we get to ask ourselves. It's not a question that we should be asking each other. Now, there are ways to do it. There are loving ways, kind ways, compassionate ways. And when you know them, practice them. Start practicing on yourself. Okay? You know all the other suggestions for loving, kind, compassion. That's the nap. That's the walk. That's the cuddle with the cats. He's just out of frame right now. Because he's very cuddly right now. It is about taking care of yourself. It really is. All right. I also encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body. Go get that face full of bright light first thing in the morning to reset those hormones. Go and drink plenty of water. I'm a big believer in that. Hydration is super important. And open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven now. Heaven may be impartial, but it is a place in your heart. It is a state of consciousness, a state of mind. It is always around you. And that breath of heaven is when we look for the good, when we do the good, when we feel the good. So, Emma's right. Look for the good and praise it. And get completely distracted by the cat. And there it was. Have a great day, an amazing day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanting day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. All right. We are into May now. There's a couple of things coming up at the end of May. But I will be here with you every day at 9 a.m.-ish. Reverend David will be on every day with you at 5 p.m.-ish. And then please, check out the social medias. Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark, or the Running Rev Ryan. Because that's me. All right. And someday I'm going to go back to running. Know that you're loved. Always. You want to know what's going on for sure with us at Creative Life? Email info@creativelife.org. That will get you on our constant contact. Okay, beloveds. Go out and make it a great one. See you next time.